What if I told you that men are the most in love with you when you're not there? But what if I also told you that if you strategically use absence to your advantage, then you can get him to be head over heels in love with you without you even being around? If that sounds confusing to you, don't worry. On today's show, we're going to be discussing why men fall in love with your absence. That way, you can use your understanding of this strategy to get the man that you want to be madly in love with you without you really having to lift a finger. Number one is imagination. And part of why a lot of this will be a little bit confusing to you is because naturally to you, when you really like a guy, you're going to want to spend as much time with him as possible. So what happens a lot in your relationships, and this is where it kind of goes wrong, you project that same desire onto the guys that you're dating, because obviously you're assuming that if I like you and I want to spend every second of every day with you, then you probably feel the same about me. So you think if we're spending more time together, that means you're going to like me more. And if we're spending less time together, that means you're going to lose interest in me, because that's what works for you. You're a woman. Men are different though. And this is where a lot of you get confused, because a lot of times the guys will show you the most appreciation when you're not around, or when you're ready to walk away, or when you have walked away and you're wondering to yourself, why are you now all of a sudden so interested in me? Why are you now all of a sudden chasing after me? And why are you now all of a sudden ready to do all the things that I've been asking you for the entire time we were in a relationship? But here's the thing. Men are the exact opposite of you. Every time that you're present in a guy's life, okay, you are the real you, meaning he can't guess, he can't pretend, and he can't project, meaning there's no room left for his desires to be projected onto you. Now, I know some of you are already looking at me like, Tomisin, I thought you tell us all the time that the fantasy is so bad. Like, we shouldn't be imagining the fantasy. We shouldn't be thinking about the fantasy because the fantasy is going to get us played. Yes, it will. But you can also, as a woman, use fantasy to your advantage, because when you're using fantasy to your advantage, then you're allowing the men to build you up in their own mind. And what do you think is going to happen in the way that they treat you when they've built you up in their own mind? They're going to approach you as if you're fantasy. Remember, you want to be embodying the dream girl, and the dream girl, right? The most desirable version of you is really the fantasy you. Why? Because then he gets to project, guess, he can pretend, he can make you perfect. Now, let's stay here. I know that you're thinking, but not everyone's perfect. This is not good, Tomisin, because what he's falling in love with is not the real you. It's not the actual you. It's this perfect version of you that's not real. Every second of every day that you take a step back, you're not messaging him, you're not texting him, you're not calling him, you're not FaceTiming him, you're just not present in his life. Fantasy you takes real you's place. So rather than thinking about your life and your relationships as, oh, when I meet a guy, if I can spend as much time with him as I possibly can from the very beginning, then he'll be in love with me. I want you to start being strategic and understanding, hey, if I spend some time, if he gets to spend some time with real me, but then he also gets to spend a lot of time with fantasy me, that will be even better for real me. I know what you're probably saying. Well, Tomisin, well, then what happens when he actually meets real me after a while? He gets to know the real me and he realizes I'm not like the fantasy, because real you steps in and understands, okay, now that I've gathered information to understand what you really desire and what you're really into, now let me think to myself, what about the real me actually is embodied by fantasy me? And then when you start understanding what parts of fantasy me are actually me, that I can actually do and is actually authentic to me, then you start understanding, okay, how do I shine that light on real me so that he makes the connection between real me and fantasy me? Then number two is going to be appreciation. When you take a step back, remember, now that you take a step back from, and he's not spending time with real you, he's spending time with fantasy you. When you're not in their life anymore, they have an actual moment of time, a sliver of time, to appreciate what it was like to have you in their life. They're actually able to like look around and be like, huh, it was fun talking to her. I enjoyed it. I was laughing. I felt so good. Now that I'm not talking to her, life's kind of dull. Things feel kind of gray. Things just aren't the same. And then what do you think they think after that? Maybe I should call her. Maybe I should message her. Maybe I should reach out to her. Maybe I should ask her on a date and spend some more time with her, because I appreciate how I feel when I'm around her. I appreciate the joy she brings to my day. I appreciate the time that I spend with her. I appreciate her overall. And you see, guys only get an opportunity to get their wheels spinning like this when you're not there. Unfortunately, when you're there right in front of him, he doesn't have an opportunity to appreciate all of those aspects of you. Why? Because you're there. I know it sounds so horrible, and I know it sounds so selfish and so inconsiderate, because why can't they just appreciate you when you're there and you're doing the thing? Why do you have to be gone in order for them to appreciate you? I don't make the rules, but I can explain them to you. This is a mistake that some of you are making. You're not giving guys a chance to spend time with fantasy you. Because why? Real you is always there in some capacity, whether it be you're talking to him on the phone, you're FaceTiming him, you're Snapchatting him every second of the day, you're sending him memes, any sort of communication. You're always trying your best to communicate with him at every second of every day and never give him a chance to forget you, right? Because in your mind, you're thinking, and this is kind of the scare tactic that your own brain plays on you. If my man goes 2.5 hours without seeing my name pop up on his phone screen, he's literally going to forget my name. He's literally going to forget my existence. He's not going to remember that I'm the girl he likes if he doesn't see my name pop up on the top of his phone screen every 2 hours or every hour or every 5 minutes, right? And so it's a delusion, but it's a narrative. Remember, narrative's the key word of the day, because narratives are powerful in both senses. That might be how you work and how you're wired, but I want you to understand, if you want to be the most desirable version of yourself to men, you actually should take a step back so that they can properly appreciate you and think of you. So at the beginning, when you break up with a guy, your pain level is like right around there. But here's the thing. For the guys, his pain level is like right around here. You're sad about the breakup, right? You're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? We've been through so much. I've wasted years of my life. Like, where am I going to find another partner? Then after, a couple of weeks, you're still sad. You're still in pain. And you still, he's kind of feeling this going on, but it's not as much pain. Okay. And so you're kind of like here now. And then after let's say 3 months, right? You're going through it. You've been going through it. You had some sad days, but now you stop crying every single day. You've gone out a little bit with friends. You've enjoyed yourself. And now your pain level is kind of like here after a couple of months, right? And then you have maybe 6-7 months down the line and you're like, oh, you know what? Life is pretty good. Now that I'm out of the relationship, I see what my relationship wasn't with him. I see that he wasn't really doing much for me. And so your level of pain after, let's say, 6 or 7 months is like all the way down here. And so your graph, right, if we make this like a graph, is like this. Your pain decreases over the course of time. Now, obviously it's not linear, because as the days are going on, now your pain is decreasing drastically each and every day, until you're like, you know what, I'm good now and I'm fine with the relationship being gone and I don't need him back. I don't want him anymore. I don't think of him. Now, for a lot of guys, and this is where the magic happens, where I want to actually join this with appreciation and help you understand why this is so important. So for guys, it's the exact opposite. So in the first few days, he's like, oh yeah, boys, we outside, we going to town, we going to drink, I'm free, I get to do what I want, bring on the Casamigos, bring on the Henny, bring on the 1942, where the hoes, where the thoughts, play some Ice Spice, play some Glorilla. Then weekend number 2, yeah, we still outside, it's crazy, yeah. He might smash a couple of girls, he's going crazy. He's like, bro, y'all want you to see this crazy one that I smashed. Oh, you going crazy, bro. Month number 3 comes and he's like, yeah, the first few weeks were good, but I'm starting to wonder, guys, we go out a lot. Are there any other things that we could be doing other than just going out? I mean, going out is awesome. What you talking about, bro? That's what we do. You tell me, are you gay? Like, you don't like smashing? Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. I'm tripping, bro. I'm tripping, right? And let's say 4 or 5 months goes by, right? And now he's like, I'm tired of going out, guys. Getting drunk is not it, bro. Like, I wake up every day, I got a hangover, and this is just, I just feel depressed, like I don't feel like me. And then he's at home, and now after 6 months, he's drunk now, and he's like, I can't deal with this anymore. This is so boring. I'm talking to the same type of girls. They all use me. This is no fun. And so what happens after month number 6, when you're finally feeling okay and you're doing all good? Month number 6 comes and you've been getting better, and his pain has been going up and up and up every single day. And so what does he do? He calls you after month number 6. The moment you're like, actually, I've actually gotten over this and I actually feel better about myself and I actually am ready to move forward in life and meet new people, that's the exact moment he calls you, because your graphs are going inverse. So as time is going on, you're feeling better, you're getting better, and you're realizing why you shouldn't have even been in the relationship in the first place. And for him, as time is going on, his pain threshold is increasing, and subsequently his appreciation for who you were and what you were in his life is increasing over the course of time. So as that is increasing, he's getting an opportunity to say, no, I actually do want her. I want to be with her. I want to spend time with her. And all this stuff that I'm doing now is nothing in comparison to what I was experiencing or the amazing feelings I was experiencing and having with her and around her. I would like to have that life back, and I don't want this life anymore where I get to do whatever I want whenever I want. And so that is when those guys call you and reach out to you, because now they're able to properly appreciate you. I'm not saying this to say to you that every guy that you ever meet is going to need 6 months in order to properly appreciate you. What I'm trying to help you understand is that the cycle of appreciation for men is quite inverse. And so as they spend more time away from you, that pain threshold increases, and they start saying, damn, I'm in a lot of pain because I do appreciate her and I want her back in my life. So now, because I can't get her back in my life and I don't have her in my life, but I really do appreciate her and everything she brought to the table in our relationship, now I'm in a lot of pain. And number 3, I talked to you at the beginning of the show, the key word of today's show is narrative, because there's a narrative that's going to play in each and every one of our minds about each and every human being, relationship, and thing that we do. And as we're building our narratives, especially on the people that we meet, it's very important that you want the men in your life and the men that you're dating to be building the right narratives about you. Why? Because they're going to be looking for a confirmation on those narratives. And in fact, they're going to be manifesting and forcing confirmation on those narratives because that's what they want to believe in. When you are not in a guy's life, remember, he's spending time with fantasy you, not real you. What's going to happen is he's going to start remembering all the qualities about real you, or even qualities that you might not really have. And he's going to start looking for reasons to confirm why he's thinking about you this much or why he's fantasizing about you this much. They're thinking in their mind, I can't spend this much time thinking about another human being or have another human being take up this much brain space unless I really like them, right? So I want you to follow the logic train here. If I really like this person and I'm thinking about them all this time because I really like them, there must be specific qualities about her that make me really like her specifically, because he's going to start thinking, I don't fantasize about everyone. I don't think about everyone. I don't, spend this much time and brain power on one particular person with everyone. So that inherently must mean, this is the narrative that starts building, that inherently must mean that there is specific, unique qualities about her that are so much better or more amazing than all the other girls that are making me fantasize and think about her and spend all this time liking her way more than I like the other women in my life. Now, this is the really amazing part about that, and this is where I want to bring you to, because I want you to get a grasp of this. Because now that this narrative is playing in his mind, he's going to go out and try to look for things to confirm that narrative. Let's just say, for example, one of the things he recognizes about you, he's like, oh my gosh, you are just so caring. And the fact that you're so caring, I've never met someone as caring as you, and as someone nurturing as you, and you're just like the absolute, true wife, any wife that a man would want to be with. As he's building you up and building you up and building you up in his mind, right? Building that narrative in his mind, when he meets you, you might say something like, oh, my brother was sick and, you know, I went to go to his house and I brought him some medicine and I brought him some food because he wasn't feeling well and he had like work or something like that. You're going to sit there and say that thinking, oh, I'm just telling you like a regular story about my regular life. And he's going to say, oh, see, that's why you're so amazing. That you the way that you care for people. It's and you brought him the food. You're just, they don't make them like you anymore. They really don't. You're going to be sitting there like, I brought my brother food. He lives across the street from me. It's not that big of a deal. That's the thing. When a guy has built a narrative in his mind about you, he's looking for any reason to confirm that narrative, right? And he's anything you say, even if it's the most mundane, regular thing of all time. But then when he actually spends time with real you, he's always going to be looking for, oh, yeah. So tell me how real you is just like the fantasy that I've been building of you, right? And so when you can start understanding what fantasy you consist of, anytime you do anything to confirm that same subconscious narrative, he's like, oh, perfect. That's perfectly in line. Because I was thinking you were so caring and you're showing me why you're so caring, okay? This is the same idea. You know, when you meet a guy, you think he's really cute, you think he's really fine, someone that you could really take seriously and you want this relationship with him to work, what's gonna happen is because you want to like this guy, you're gonna subconsciously look for reasons to confirm the fact that he is the guy that you're looking for. Even if those same things presented, those same qualities were in other guys that are chasing after you and messaging you every day that also have those same qualities, but you're not interested in being with those guys. So it doesn't matter to you that they have those same qualities. And number 4, confirmation bias. You want to believe that they're everything you imagine them to be. So you go out seeking confirmation that they are everything that you imagine them to be. But here's the problem. Because you're going out and seeking confirmation, you start to look for any reason, even if it doesn't make sense, even if it's not really a big deal, to confirm that that is who they are and they are who you're looking for. And that's the reason you're fantasizing about them. So funny enough, when a guy is looking for reasons to like you, even when you just are being you, he's going to be saying to himself, oh, the reasons I like you is because you do this, this, and that, and this, and that, and this, and that. But he was already looking for reasons to like you. So he just found reasons to like you in the things that you already do as a way of confirming the bias that already exists within the narrative that he's built in his mind about you. And you're actually absent from him so that it allows him to build his continuous anticipation from you. When you just be you, it continues to confirm in his mind, oh, you just being you is exactly why you are so amazing. And you just don't understand. All these amazing qualities about you, this, and that, and this, and that, and this, and that, is what makes you so much better than all the other people. And you're thinking in your mind, it's the same reason why the guys that you don't like, don't pay any attention to, don't do nothing for. You just sit there and be yourself. And they're sitting there confessing to you how amazing you are for sitting there and being yourself. They're you have to understand, you're the most beautiful, gorgeous woman I've ever met. You just have to understand, you just radiate this such positive energy that just attracts me to you. And when I look into your eyes, I see the deep blue ocean. And you're sitting there like, I'm doing nothing. What are you talking about? I'm literally doing nothing. And those guys are they're looking for anything to confirm the narrative that you are the most amazing angelic figure they've ever met. Number 5 is comparison. But comparison in this case is so powerful for you. You need to give men an opportunity to compare what their life was like with you versus what their life is like without you. And on a consistent basis, you have to remind men how amazing their life is with you by reminding them how horrible their life is without you. I know that this sounds toxic. I know that this sounds like, why do we have to do this as human beings? Because I should just be able to spend every second of every day with my partner and they love me all the same. But unfortunately, this is the psychology of men. The only way they can appreciate you, love you, desire you more, and want to be with you more is when they can directly compare, understand how amazing you are what you bring to the table, how big your dump truck is, how, radiant your smile is, how angelic of a figure you are when you are always present 24/7. They can only recognize that when they can compare what it was like to be around you and spend time with you when they are not around you and not spending time with you. And you have to allow the men in your life, even the ones that you really like, the space to compare their lives. That's when they start writing you letters. That's when they start, telling you that you're the most beautiful woman in the tallest tower and all that stuff that they talked about in your Cinderella stories and your Disney princess movies, right? Like when guys aren't able, yes, fantasy for you is bad because you need to be gathering information and you're letting men into you and into your life and into your spirit. For you, a fantasy is good because a fantasy keeps those men in your life that you're dating hungry enough that they want to keep pursuing you. Now, of course, in the process of them pursuing you, you want to determine who's the right person for you because some men that are hungry for you aren't going to be treating you right, or they just might not be the partner that you're looking for. But the men that you are dating, you want to keep them on the hunt. You don't want ever want the men in your life to be satisfied with the time they spent with you, or to feel like, I would rather spend less time with her. I would rather, maybe take a little bit of a break from her. You always want the men that you're dating to be on the offensive with you, all right? Not on the defensive with you, okay?